Hi, I'm Kay Somerville, and you're watching Long Story Shorts, where we catch you up on our region's biggest story, little by little. First up, let's talk about a trial that we're going to cover from start to finish, and you can watch it right here on WFAA+. Here's Tanya Iser with a preview on the Tanner Horner trial.
This week, a North Texas capital murder trial begins, and we'll be taking you inside the courtroom every step of the way. Jury selection is complete in the trial of Tanner Horner, accused in the 2022 killing of 7-year-old Athena Strand. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. Opening statements begin Tuesday. I'll be anchoring WFA's live, gavel-to-gavel coverage, bringing you real-time updates as testimony unfolds. And every day we'll have legal experts breaking down what's happening in the courtroom, what it means, and what comes next. From key evidence to critical rulings, we'll help you understand the case as it develops. Join us starting Tuesday for live coverage of the Tanner Horner trial on WFA, streaming on WFAA+, and wherever you watch.
That story was huge throughout North Texas back in 2022. Everyone was talking about it. And quite honestly, we haven't had any shortage of big news these past few days either. Here's a look at the stories that have captured our attention across North Texas as of late, starting with Jobin Punaker and one local community who's now mourning one of their own.
We are at the corner of Renner and Custer here in Richardson. This is where we were told that a cyclist was hit by a driver. It happened on March 24th last week. We are still waiting on information from the city of Richardson. We reached out to them here on Friday, have not heard back yet, just confirmation about what's happened here. Most of the information that we've received is on social media already, and also from the biking community itself. They have told us a lot of this information about Phil, how he has a family, and funeral arrangements are happening this week for him. In speaking with the biking community, they tell us, what happens to one of us affects all of us. And so a lot of people are saying that they'll continue to go on rides in the coming week because that's what Phil would have wanted. A lot of them said that they will continue to do group rides because that's where they feel the safest.
Fort Worth police were involved in a chase that ended in a deadly crash early Easter Sunday morning. Now, we don't have a ton of details, but here is what police are telling us. It was about 2:30 Sunday morning when officers say they spotted a car on Interstate 35 near Rosedale without any headlights. Police say that car hit another vehicle, so they tried to pull it over, but it wouldn't stop. And that is when Fort Worth PD started a chase. Officers say they actually saw the car hit another vehicle as well without stopping. Officers did lose sight of the car for a while, but they say they eventually found it crashed off Tarver Road in Burleson. That's about 15 miles south of Fort Worth. Police say the driver, an adult male, died. They say the passenger, also an adult male, had to be taken to a hospital. No officers, no bystanders got hurt, according to police. A complete investigation is underway.
Yes, everybody's out of our house.
We need you guys pets and everything?
Yeah, we don't.
Okay.
Well, we have a bird, but
We have a bird. We don't want the fire to spread.
Yeah, we don't either.
Right, but you guys are
Tell me to charge it. Captain, call for water on the radio when you're ready. Took off fast. Do you have anybody else inside the house?
No.
Police are calling this a tragic accident. They say 2 teens were inside one of the units behind me here when a gun went off. A 16-year-old was killed. People we talked to in the area say those boys were best friends. Police were called to an apartment complex off South Hewland Street in Fort Worth Sunday around 5 o'clock. Public Information Officer Tracy Carter says they found a teen who had been shot in the chest. Another teen was taken into custody.
I want to say this on this Easter Sunday. This is very much a tragic accident. 2 juveniles that are involved. There are a lot of families affected by this. I ask for their prayers that our community reaches out that are here, that we're there for them.
Ernest Young says his cousin's 16-year-old son was taken into custody. He says the two teens were best friends. He remembers seeing them together often.
I'm sad and upset because I don't know what they were thinking, what they were doing with it. I don't know how they got it.
Carter says they do not know what led up to the shooting, but initial calls indicate it was an accident, though investigators still have a lot of work to do.
And it's a tragic day for them people, and my heart goes out to the
family members are being questioned right now, but we still do not know where that gun came from. In Fort Worth, I'm Brittany Costello.
I want to say this on this Easter Sunday. This is very much a tragic accident. Two juveniles that are involved. There are a lot of families affected by this. I ask for their prayers, that our community reaches out, that are here, that we're there for them. On April 5th, 2026, at approximately 5:17 p.m., South Division officers were dispatched to 6600 block of South Hewlin Street, an apartment community, in reference to a shooting. Upon arrival, officers found a 16-year-old juvenile male victim with a gunshot wound and was pronounced deceased. Officers learned that the two teenagers were inside the residence at this location when one accidentally discharged a firearm, striking the other in the chest. The 16-year-old juvenile suspect was detained. Homicide detectives were notified and will investigate what led to the shooting. Tarrant County Medical Examiner Office will identify the deceased and determine official cause and manner of death. The Fort Worth Police Department recognized the profound effects of this tragic incident and has a victim's family and community. Anyone with any information is encouraged to contact the Fort Worth Police Department.
Dallas residents are being asked to weigh in on alternatives to those colorful crosswalks that had to be removed. The city took out its rainbow and its Black Lives Matter crosswalks because of a state mandate. It was issued last year, and that forced cities to remove them. The city is now ready to brainstorm how it can follow that mandate while still allowing public art that reflects certain neighborhoods. They have 3 meetings scheduled for this week. You are invited to give a little input, share your ideas. The first meeting is tomorrow at Theater 3 in Uptown. It starts at 5:30. There's another one Wednesday at the South Dallas Cultural Center. It is also scheduled for 5:30. And the final meeting is Friday at the Reverchon Rec Center. You guessed it, 5:30 for this one as well. So show up, speak out, share your ideas, and we'll see where this goes.
On the first show, y'all may want to move it. Okay.
That's too much gas.
What the fuck done happened? We ran into the car. Y'all got my glasses? You got...
Here you go.
It was just a ball of flame, just a big, it just looked, it looked like hell. It looked like hell. It was just a big ball of flames, and we were hoping that no one was inside the truck, you know. It just looked like terror, you know. Something I'd never seen before in my life, so it was really scary. I thought the whole block was gonna blow up. I mean, we're talking about gas here. We immediately called 911, and just went to video and everything, and it was just a hysteria of people. We didn't know what to do. We were just trying to get in. We didn't know. It just felt like a bomb was on the block.
White Rock Lake is considered one of the city's jewels, and the Dallas City Council just approved its new master plan. Think of it less as an immediate to-do list and more of a map so the council can identify future projects and implement them. Some of the upgrades planned are protecting wildlife and greenery, expanding trails, improving some of the picnic areas, and building an over-the-water boardwalk. In the past, it's been sort of a hodgepodge process with a dozen overlapping guidelines and plans. This takes a fragmented approach and turns it into a clear strategy. An even more pressing issue is dredging to remove the accumulated sediment that reduces water depth. Ideally, it'd be done every 20 to 25 years, but it hasn't happened since 1998. The city is exploring the idea of targeting the worst areas instead of dredging all of White Rock Lake to offset costs between $70 and $107 million.
The New Mexico legislature essentially says, take a walk, Texas.
You know, you never know till you know. They're poor.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
You know, they're poor and we're rich.
Could we buy these counties?
You know, you never know what situation they might be in. And, you know, everything seems to have a price in this world. And so Texas, you know, has the ability to extend its power beyond our borders. And you never know if there's a deal to be cut with New Mexico. And if there is, look, the committee that's been formed has just been formed to look at this. And I don't think it's an outlandish possibility.
April is Distracted Driving Awareness Month, and Texas State Troopers are about to begin a campaign that is focused on finding drivers who have lost focus on the road. Now, the numbers from the state of Texas are startling. TxDOT says distracted driving was the second most common factor in traffic crashes last year in the state. They say distracted driving contributed to more than 86,000 crashes, and those crashes led to 299 deaths and 2,437 serious injuries. That's in 2025 alone. Between April 6th and the 13th, the Highway Patrol is going to conduct its annual Distracted Driving Traffic Enforcement campaign. That means troopers are going to be on the lookout for people who are texting or who are distracted in some way. The numbers I gave you should be enough to scare somebody into paying attention. If not, though, maybe the threat of a ticket will.
Okay, now let's talk dollars and cents. Have you filed your taxes yet? Here's what to know about that, the latest jobs report, and why more people are starting to tap into their 401ks.
So let's start here. Why are we seeing more people tap into their retirement savings right now?
Well, put simply, prices are up and wages aren't. And as people continue to need to find ways to pay for everyday essentials or deal with an emergency, it can become very tempting to tap into this pile of money that you've collected over the years that you haven't otherwise utilized. So with that, it's very common to have that itch to go ahead and dip into that with the idea that you'll deal with the consequences of that later.
And you've created a bit of doubt here. So why do experts say pulling from a 401k early should really be a last resort?
The biggest thing is just the penalties and the taxes, right? So if you're under the age of 60, if you pull money out of your 401k, you're not only going to pay ordinary income taxes, but you're also going to be faced with a 10% penalty. So you're losing 10% right off the bat, and then you're going to have to pay taxes on top of that. Not to mention that if you, by pulling money out of that, you're actually losing some of the advantages of allowing that money to compound and grow over an extended period of time without any tax consequences. So, and it's not easy to put the money back. You really can't. So that's why so many experts, myself included, really encourage people to not tap into taking 401k assets, particularly early in their careers and lives.
And I feel like not a lot of people know that. So what are some smarter options for people who may really be in a bind for cash then?
Sure. There's several other things that you can look at, including other ways to monetize your 401k. So the biggest one is a 401k loan. When you take a loan rather than a distribution, these details matter. Yes, you have to pay it back. Yes, you have to pay interest, but you're borrowing from yourself. So as you're paying that money back, as you're paying interest on that loan, that's effectively getting put back into your retirement plan. Other things to do is definitely have an emergency savings. My recommendation is somewhere between 2 and 3 months worth of expenses that you can tap into at any time with no penalty. And the last is looking at home equity, right? If you've got a lot of home equity, you can look to take a home equity line of credit out in order to help take care of some of those emergencies. And that's a little bit more tax advantageous than dipping into your 401k.
And you mentioned this a little earlier, but I really want to give you the opportunity to drive this home. If someone is at the point where they feel like they really have no other choice, what do they need to understand before they take that money out of that 401k?
They need to have a very firm understanding that you're not going to be able to put this money back. And you're also going to pay extra in penalties and taxes, right? So you're going to be taxed on the full amount you take. After that number's been calculated, they're going to take 10% of that money on top of it. So in many cases, for you to get the money that you need, you're going to be taking anywhere from 10 to 30% more than you actually need in order to help cover the taxes and penalties associated with the transaction.
Really important information there. Ken, thank you again so much.
Finally, let's zoom out about as far as we can. Here are a few updates about the Artemis II crew's journey around the moon.
Carry-on sized gym, zero-gravity crumbs, and suspended sleeping bags, all in a cabin roughly the size of 2 minivans. This is what life is like on the Artemis II mission. A day in the life on board the Orion spacecraft begins here, in the sleeping capsule.
Good morning, Artemis II crew.
The sleeping bags are attached to the walls, and the space is extremely tight for 4 people. The food menu consists of 189 different items of food, according to NASA. It ranges from coffee to smoothies, mango salad to breakfast sausage. As they don't have a fridge, the items are chosen to remain shelf-stable and minimise annoying crumbs in zero gravity. Food is ready to eat, rehydratable, thermostabilised or irradiated. NASA gives the astronauts scheduled times for each meal and allows 2 flavoured beverages a day. If they want their food hot, crew can also use a briefcase-style food warmer. NASA says that exercise is an essential for crew in space. Astronauts have to do 30 minutes of exercise each day to help prevent bone density loss caused by the conditions in space. They do that using one of these. A flywheel is smaller than the size of a carry-on bag, but allows astronauts to do exercises like bicep curls, as well as operating like a rowing machine. Every day, the astronauts also need to work to maintain their course and conduct experiments. But even people in space need a break, and on the 7th day of their mission, they get the day off before they prep for their return to Earth.
The WFAA crew is wishing the Artemis II crew a continued safe journey home. Once again, I'm Kay Somerville. Thanks for watching Long Story Shorts. We'll see you next time.